An update following the announcement by Tata Steel of 1,000 job losses in the UK.
Yes, of course. This announcement is extremely disappointing news, and this will be a very worrying time for Tata Steel employees and their families. I am continuing to engage with the company and with trade unions to understand what this means for the business in Wales and the many thousands of loyal people employed across its sites.
I thank the Minister for that answer. Only 3 weeks ago, we heard the news from Tata that we're announcing 3,000 job losses across Europe. I very much appreciated your written statement on the 18th of November and your oral statement on the 19th of November. And we're 3 weeks on, and we now get another statement which is as vague in one sense as the first statement. In the oral statement on the 19th, you actually said the company would work over the next few months where there would be identifying the job functions. And yet 3 weeks later, we have this announcement that 1,000 will be in the UK. Just wondered whether you were aware as to what made them change their minds as to make a further announcement in such a short space of time. I make no apologies today, Minister, for repeating many of the things we said 2 or 3 weeks ago, because they are important issues which members in this chamber want answers for, and what's more importantly, steel workers and their families want answers for. As you say, there's uncertainty for steel workers. 2016, just after Christmas, we saw announcements from Tata which put steel workers under threat. Just before Christmas now, in 2019, we see similar announcements putting steelworkers and their families in uncertainty and possibilities of job losses in months to come. Do you agree with me that this is a poor way of actually behaving to their workers, as you identified, loyal workers who have dedicated and given commitment to that industry to ensure that it remains a sustainable, viable industry as best they can? You've indicated again, you've talked to the trade unions. Are you had commitment from Tata that the MOU that they signed with the trade unions will be honoured, so that no compulsory redundancies will be given to workers because they give up commitment in their pension schemes to allow that agreement to be in place? Have you any more detail on as to where those job losses might be? 1,000 in the UK. There are 8,000 approximately in Tata in the UK. The bulk of those, if not nearly all of them, are in Wales. So this is clearly going to have an implication for Welsh steel jobs. And therefore, it is important that you look at the question as to where these jobs lie and the areas you need to work to help those communities. Again, we talk about supply chains, because if jobs go in Tata, there's likelihood that supply chains on contractors and those coming in to do the other jobs are going to be impacted upon. Have you yet done an analysis and discussions with Tata as about what the impact will be upon the supply chains? Minister, you also highlighted the fact there were 4 areas they picked on in that original letter back in earlier in November. Employment costs were just one of them. Have you had discussions on the other 3 as to how they intend to look at producing a better product mix, how they intend to reduce procurement costs, what optimisation of production processes will be involved, and will they be looking for help in those areas? Have those discussions yet started? And do you remain assured that actually these job losses will not take place until March 2021, considering that 2 weeks after the original one, we get an update of 1,000 job losses in the UK? When will we have an update as to where those job losses will be? Port Talbot has over half the employees of Tata UK. I cannot see how a large proportion of 1,000 jobs will not be in Port Talbot. They are constituents of mine, they are friends of mine, they are families of mine. We need to understand what this means for the community and those workers and their families. Time is going on. They're coming up with these glib comments and large notices of large job losses, but no detail. No one telling us where they will lie. No one telling us what job functions, what areas, other than 2/3 white collar, 1/3 blue collar. That means nothing to many workers. It could be anybody in the works. It is important we get this detail, and it is important now that they communicate with their workforce so they can reassure them as to where it lands.
Can I thank Dyrese for this topical question? Much of what he has impressed upon us today has been echoed by the European Works Council and the trade unions, who are stating very clearly that they wish to have a meaningful consultation with Tata over the coming weeks and months, and that in order to have that meaningful consultation, they need access to as much detail as possible, as soon as possible. Deputy Llywydd, after the announcement, there were some comments that I kept hearing about, well, there's a silver lining to this in that 2/3 of the jobs are going to be white collar, they're going to be office-based. Look, these are jobs, these are people, regardless of whether they're working on the shop floor or in an office. These people face losing their livelihoods. And regardless of whether they are white collar or blue collar, we are sympathetic to the position that they are in, and we will stand by them in helping them in whatever way, shape or form we can. It will be an extremely difficult period for many, many people who will be questioning whether they'll have a job come March 2021 in Tata. Now, the latest announcement adds little more to the announcement from the 18th of November. Essentially, it confirms the speculation that was taking place back in the middle of November, when the company announced that there would be up to 3,000 job losses across Europe. And at that point, there was a lot of speculation emerging that around 1,600 could be in the Netherlands and a further 350 elsewhere. So people were then assuming that it would be around about 1,000 here in the UK. The announcement essentially confirms that, but it adds no more detail about the jobs or the location of the jobs that could be affected. We have been told again that the work that will take place between now and the new year will be on a role-by-role basis, so that by February of next year we will know not just what jobs face being lost, but also the location of those jobs. We are keeping open the option of a task force to assist. If there is a concentration of jobs lost at any one site, then certainly a task force would be a sensible means of supporting those affected workers, and so we are going to keep that as a live option. In terms of supply chain implications, we're working through this right now. I've previously informed members that there will be a special manufacturing summit taking place in the new year. The supply chain for the steel industry will, of course, be a key concern at that summit. By the time of the summit taking place, we hope to have been able to conduct a thorough analysis of the implications of this particular announcement for those locations in and around the existing Tata sites in Wales. I have spoken briefly to Tata Steel regarding the other areas where they are seeking to achieve cost savings, including the development of a better product mix and the reduction in procurement costs and the costs of goods and services through more effective and efficient procurement regimes. And I should just say that the date of March 2021 is the end date by which the implementation of this transformation programme concerning employees will have been completed. My concern in 2020 will be in ensuring that there is a seamless transition for anybody who could be out of work by 2021 into other high-quality, well-paid employment in the region. And I'd finally, Deputy Llywydd, congratulate Di Rees on representing the steel sector, and in particular those workers at Port Talbot, with such energy over many years. We have had numerous conversations. We have stood side by side on many occasions in demanding a better deal for the steel sector in Wales, and it's only right that we now once again call on the UK government to do so and to agree to a steel sector deal that could be transformational for the sector, and to ensure that it deals once and for all in terms of making sure that those uncompetitive energy prices are resolved.
Susie